Have you ever faced the moment in life when nothing seemed to make sense? Maybe you lost a job, faced a painful breakup, or received news that turned your world upside down. In those moments, it's easy to wonder, why is this happening to me? Or, is there any purpose in this pain? What if I told you there's a promise in the Bible that says even in the darkest, most confusing times, something good can come out of it? Today, we're exploring a verse that has brought hope and comfort to millions. Romans 8:28, KJV. Welcome to Bible Verse Explained, where we break down the wisdom of Scripture in a way that's easy to understand and apply to your everyday life. If you've ever struggled to find meaning in your struggles or wondered if God is really working behind the scenes, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Let's start by reading the verse together. Romans 8:28, KJV says, "And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose." At first glance, this verse sounds incredibly hopeful. But what does it really mean? Does it mean everything in life will be easy or pleasant? How can we trust this promise when life feels so hard? Let's find out. To really understand Romans 8:28, it helps to know a little about the book of Romans and the world in which it was written. The Apostle Paul wrote this letter to the Christians living in Rome around 57 AD. Rome was the center of the ancient world, a place of power, culture, and diversity, but also a place where Christians were a small, sometimes persecuted minority. Paul's letter to the Romans is one of the most important books in the New Testament. It's a deep, thoughtful explanation of the Christian faith, written to people who came from all kinds of backgrounds: Jews, Gentiles, rich, poor, slaves, and free. Paul wanted to make it clear that the message of Jesus was for everyone, no matter their past or their status. Romans 8 is often called the Mount Everest of the Bible because of its soaring promises and deep truths. Paul wrote these words to encourage believers who were facing real suffering, persecution, hardship, and uncertainty. He wanted them to know that God was still in control, even when life felt out of control. Let's take a closer look at what Romans 8:28 is really saying. And we know. Paul starts with confidence. He doesn't say, "we hope," or "we wish," but "we know." This is a certainty, a truth that believers can hold on to no matter what. That all things work together for good. This is the heart of the verse. Notice it doesn't say that all things are good. Life is full of pain, loss, and disappointment. But Paul says that all things, good and bad, joyful and painful, can work together for good. It's like a master chef who takes a variety of ingredients, some sweet and some bitter, and combines them to create something delicious. God is able to take every part of our lives and weave them together into a greater purpose. So to them that love God. This promise isn't for everyone. It's specifically for those who love God, those who have a relationship with Him, who trust Him, and who are seeking to follow Him. Loving God doesn't mean you're perfect or that you never doubt. It means your heart is turned toward Him, even in the midst of struggle. For he said unto them who are the called according to his purpose. This phrase reminds us that God has a purpose for our lives. We're not here by accident. God calls us, invites us into his family, and gives our lives meaning and direction. When we align our lives with his purpose, we can trust that he's working everything out for our good. Let's make this practical with a story. Meet Daniel, a young man who dreamed of becoming a professional athlete. He trained for years, sacrificing time with friends and family, pushing his body to the limit. Just as he was about to sign with a major team, he suffered a serious injury that ended his career. Daniel was devastated. He felt like his whole life had been wasted, and he struggled to understand why God would let this happen. For months, Daniel wrestled with anger, disappointment, and doubt. But slowly, he began to see things differently. During his recovery, he started volunteering at a local youth center, mentoring kids who were struggling with their own challenges. He discovered a passion for helping others and eventually went back to school to become a counselor. Looking back, Daniel realized that his injury, though painful, had opened the door to a new purpose. He was able to use his experience to encourage and inspire others. The dream he thought was lost had been replaced by something even more meaningful. Daniel's story is a reminder that God can take even our greatest disappointments and use them for good. So, what does this mean for us today? First, it means that God is always at work, even when we can't see it. Life is full of ups and downs, and sometimes it feels like nothing makes sense. But Romans 8:28 reminds us that God is weaving every part of our story together for a greater purpose. Even our pain, our failures, and our losses are not wasted. Second, it means that we can trust God's goodness, even in the midst of suffering. This doesn't mean we have to pretend everything is okay or ignore our pain. It means we can bring our questions, our doubts, and our struggles to God, knowing that He cares and that He's working for our good. Third, it means that our love for God and our willingness to follow His purpose are key. This promise is for those who love God and are called according to His purpose. When we align our lives with God's will, we can trust that He's working everything out, even when we don't understand how. So how can you apply Romans 8:28 in your own life? The next time you face a setback, a disappointment, or a painful situation, remember that God is still at work. You may not see the whole picture right now, but you can trust that God is weaving every part of your story together for good. Here are 3 practical steps you can take. Acknowledge your pain. It's okay to be honest with God about your struggles. He can handle your questions, your doubts, and your tears. Bring your pain to Him in prayer and ask Him to help you see His hand at work. Look for God's purpose. Ask God to show you how He might be using your situation for good. Sometimes, it's only in hindsight that we see how God was working. Keep your eyes open for opportunities to grow, to help others, or to discover a new purpose. Trust God's timing. God's plan often unfolds in ways we don't expect, and on a timeline we wouldn't choose. Be patient and trust that God is working, even when you can't see it. Remember that He is faithful, and that He will bring good out of every situation for those who love Him. You might find it helpful to keep a journal, where you write down the ways you see God working in your life. Over time, you'll build a record of God's faithfulness that can encourage you when life gets tough. Romans 8:28 is a powerful reminder that nothing in your life is wasted. God is able to take every part of your story, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and use it for a greater purpose. Even when life feels out of control, God is still in control. He loves you. He's working for your good, and He has a purpose for your life. If you're struggling right now, know that you're not alone. Everyone faces moments of pain and confusion, but you can hold on to the promise of Romans 8:28. God is working, even when you can't see it. He's weaving your story into something beautiful. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever seen God bring good out of a difficult situation in your life? How has Romans 8:28 encouraged you during tough times? Or maybe you're in the middle of a struggle right now and need some hope. Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your story might encourage someone else who needs to know that God is working for their good. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who might need some encouragement. Remember, God is working all things together for good for those who love Him and are called according to His purpose. Keep trusting, keep hoping, and keep believing in the God who turns pain into purpose. Thank you for watching Bible Verse Explained. Until next time, keep seeking, keep trusting, and keep holding on to the promise that God is working for your good.